All right, guys, welcome back to the garage. So this is my 2013 Tesla Model S 85. I just picked this up a couple days ago. See the link to this, the initial video I did. I bought this car for $10,500 just a few days ago, and it was the cheapest running, clean title, and no issues with the main battery pack Tesla Model S in the United States that I could find. And so got this. It isn't without its problems. There are a few things we need to address, and that's going to be the purpose of this kind of project car, is really just going through, seeing if we can cheaply address some of the issues that this car has and get it fixed and see if we can do some DIY projects on this. Now, I'm going to have a playlist of all the videos of this car, so see the link down below in the description of the playlist for this car. Got it added to my Tesla account. From the Tesla account, you can request service. One of the issues I was having with this car is that it's giving the warning of low voltage on the 12-volt battery. This car, right under the hood here, in the front trunk area, there's a 12-volt battery that powers a lot of the electronics, the screen, all of the electric components inside. All of those 12-volt electronics are powered by a small deep cycle 12-volt battery, which it is lead acid. Starting in like 2020, Tesla started using a lithium battery that's going to last longer, but for cars like 2019 and older, it's going to use a 12-volt battery, lead acid battery, and it probably is going to last 3.5 to 4 years. That's about how long it's lasted in my other Model S. This car, I don't know when it was last replaced, but I would guess probably, 3 or 4 years ago it was replaced. It needs to be replaced. It's a pretty affordable part. There is some options if you look online, if you try to search for options for Model S replacement batteries. There's some lithium options, and I thought of doing that. They're about $400 to replace it with a lithium battery in here. However, there were some concerns that others brought up, and that is some of these lithium batteries may not charge if the temperature is below a certain level, like 40 degrees Fahrenheit or less. So if it gets near freezing, some of these lithium batteries are not going to charge, because this lead acid battery actually charges from the main battery pack. So there's like a DC to DC charger that charges the lead acid battery off of the main pack. And if it's too cold, these new lithium batteries that are being offered kind of as an aftermarket solution may not charge, and it could be stranded. And so I wanted to just go with the Tesla OEM factory version, just a lead acid version. So I went on the Tesla app, I requested service for that, and I just wanted to see like what the cost would be to have Tesla, or to take this into the Tesla dealership, or to have them come do a mobile service, which that is an option for that, because a Tesla mobile tech could just come out and do it in your driveway or garage probably within 30, 40 minutes, an hour, and then have it done. To give you an idea, the cost for that was going to be $108 labor for me to take this into the service center and have them replace the battery. The battery itself is $165 plus tax, so it was like $273 or something for them to replace the battery. Now, that's not horrible, but I'm like, you know what? This is a budget build. We are trying to get by with spending as very little money as possible on this, so we're going to do it ourselves. So I went to the Tesla service center. I actually called them up yesterday, and now you guys have this battery in stock for this car. They said, yep, we have it, come get it. So I drove down there. It's only about a 25-minute drive. I drove down there, picked it up, came back. I've got the battery here. So today's video, we're going to go through the replacement of the 12-volt battery and give you kind of an update on some of the other things we're working on the car. So here's the battery. You can see it's kind of a smaller battery. It's a deep cycle 12-volt. It has these screw-on terminals here, and we're just going to replace that. So that's just right back in here. Ordered new brake pads and rotors for this. I want to show you on this back rear tire. Passenger rear side rotor. Oh, you can see there's a groove. There's a groove from here to here. This whole area is just totally grooved out. And we need to get these pads replaced. We're going to replace the pads and the rotors, because these rotors are super scored. All of them are. So we want to replace those. I found a whole set of rotors and pads for all 4 wheels, and it was like on Amazon for just over $400 for all of them. So we're going to do that ourselves. That's going to come. That should be here in a few days, and we'll start working on that issue. The other issue I'm having with the drivetrain is that there's a clunk when I accelerate or when you let off the pedal or accelerate. Anytime you're on or off the pedal, you get a small clunking sound. I've heard from many that have commented and post that it could be the axle shafts, the half shafts that lead from the hub to the motor. So I'm going to investigate that a little bit more once I have this off, when I'm digging into the brakes a little bit more. So we'll dig into that a little bit more. And if it needs replacement axles, I'm probably going to try that myself. So I requested them to look at that issue. Guys, they wanted $225 labor just to diagnose the clunking sound in the rear. I thought that was excessive. It's not going to take them a couple hours to diagnose that. They'll be able to, most likely drive it and see the clunking, take the shield off, get it on the lift. 30 minutes, they'll be able to tell what the problem is. Because this is probably a common issue with these cars, and they've probably seen it before, and they probably know exactly what it is. So to charge me $225 to diagnose the problem, I thought that was excessive, and so I canceled my appointment. I want to eliminate the brake problem because I know if I take it in, they're gonna say that it needs new brakes. So I want to eliminate that. I want to get the battery done myself. One of the other things I ordered that we're going to be doing a DIY. So we've got the brakes ordered, and then I've got window tint coming. You can see this is all clear glass all the way around on every window. Even the back hatch is completely clear. There's no darkening from the factory, which usually you see that. You see the darker windows on the rear. They're not dark at all. And so I was able to find a kit, a window tint kit that's pre-cut for all the windows on eBay for $35. $300 to $400. I took it to a shop to get it tinted. So we're going to do that ourselves once that comes as well. Now, when I was at the service center yesterday, I talked to him about the screen. You see how there's this, it looks like there's liquid in there in this screen, and as well as the gauge. See how there's that line there that it looks like it's dripping, like there's moisture, water dripping in there. There's actually an adhesive. There was some sticky stuff all over this trim right here, and down below it's actually sticky right here. This stuff is actually like an adhesive or a glue that's like dripping out and is leaking out of the bottom or leaking out of various locations. The screen still works. It's still sensitive to the touch. Like I can still go through the options. It still recognizes touch. It's just this liquid, this glue, this adhesive is coming out. They said the only way to fix that is you can replace the screens. The replacement screens for this MCU1 is about $1,200. Or they're like, yeah, the best route is just to do the MCU2 upgrade, which is about $1,700, and that's going to replace this screen and that screen. It's going to give it a faster processor. That's still be determined when or if we're going to do that. But before we get the battery replaced, we're going to go in here to menu to power off the car. Battery is actually located up here in these older cars, rear-wheel drive cars. The dual motor ones, it's more located like right in here. So we're going to start by taking these panels out. The cabin air filter housing. And so we just pull off the cover there. Yeah, that looks pretty dirty. We better find a replacement for that. There's two clips on this housing, one here and one here. There's a little rubber shield that's covering this one over here, so just pull this aside. All right, I'm just kind of lifting this up now. It's just going to be held in place by this strut right here, and we need to start removing the air box. All right, just removing these two 10 millimeters. We pull that housing out. While it's out, I can get this cleaned up. All right, there's 4 nuts on each side. There's 2 nuts on each side of this box, like a long swivel extension to get to this. With the nuts off, we can just pull off this rubber piece below. It's just a little water diverter below it. Pull this out sideways, and it comes right out. So now we should need to remove the top of this fuse block cover on top of the battery. There's just some tabs on top, tabs on the other side, and those just... Before we proceed, I just need to disable the fireman's loop. It'll cut off any power going to the battery to keep it charged. Okay, just pry up this red tab here. Once you lift up this red tab, there's then a tab on the harness you have to press down. I just held the screwdriver right on that tab and then just pulled that out. This is the negative terminal on the battery. It's an 8mm bolt. I'm just going to loosen that up. And we can just push aside the negative terminal. The cable on the left-hand side, as we're looking at it, is the DC to DC charger cable, so 13mm. Back here, it's also 13mm. Now these two nuts are different. Inside this little area right here, there's an 8mm socket. We just need to take that bolt out. With that nut off, we can then lift this up. And we're gonna put a little bungee on this to just keep it held up out of the way. Okay, the fuse block's then lifted up. Now I just need to use a 10mm socket just to release the bracket on this side, and then we can move it off. Okay, here's our old one and our new one. I got to swap over this terminal now. This was the screw that we took out of the negative block, and now I just need to swap over this. All right, to get this in, we're just going to lay it the same way we did on the last one. It's going to be on its side. And then we're going to have it. I got it dropped into place. Takes a little finagling to get that in. Just goes in on its side, and then once it's on its side here, it just flips to the bottom. Just to give you an idea on how this latches on, there's this hooked screw. This hooks onto the tray, and then this comes up through here. So I'm just going to thread that on there, put the nut back on, and tighten it down. All right, getting that on was probably one of the hardest parts of this process, is getting that strap holder. The battery strap is now nice and tight. All right, now a lot of this is just a reversal of what we did to take it off. All right, I have this fuse block back on top of the battery. Now I'm just going to secure down the positive nut. And I'm tightening down this cable on this side. This is the DC to DC charger cable. Negative terminal tightened down. I'm just making sure all these connections are tight. I'll be able to connect got my loop connected now. Now I should be able to power up. So I just want to make sure everything's powering back up. All right, screen turns on. Everything's powered back up. Now I can get this air box put back in. Covers back on. Car's all put back together, guys. That was kind of a pain. That was probably one of the harder battery changes I've ever had to do on a vehicle. So that battery is deep buried in there. Knowing that, I might consider going the lithium route just so I don't have to do that again anytime soon. But that should last me, 3.5, 4 years. So it's not that frequent that you have to do that. But okay, electronics all work. If we get inside the car here, we'll see that the warning. I've been getting this warning. This is the park assistant unavailable. That's been on, but we don't have a warning that says low voltage on the 12-volt battery or change the 12-volt battery. So that's gone away. So that's good. So now I'm just waiting on brakes, my brake rotors to come. That's going to be the next project, and then we'll work on that probably next week. But in the meanwhile, we're going to do kind of like I don't know if you can see this on the camera. You can see this. It is super rough. There's some contamination on the paint. I want to get this paint kind of polished up. So we're going to do a clay bar, a polish, and a wax on the paint to see how this will polish up while we're waiting for parts. And you guys, if you know any more information on the kind of a clunking sound when you're on and off the accelerator, let me know what I should be looking for. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.